Hey there, welcome to episode 3 of Rebuilding Madness Retaliation 2. We're gonna be making the first equipment. Now, whenever you think of madness, you think of guns, so let's start with the guns. I've outlined our to-do list. We're gonna do equipment, object, and then have the pawns have guns, change guns, and then we're gonna build out a simple UI so that we can have a menu where we can change equipment. Then if we have time for it, we'll also include armor, which is going to be a type of equipment object. I'm going to have to create script called equip. All right, get started. Equipment will have, it's going to be a mono behavior. It's going to have public string name. And then if it's a gun, public string, call this display name. We can't call it a lowercase name because that's a reserved word. Public string, now let's just do integer damage. That's it. We're gonna default it to 1. Then let's create our first gun. And let's pop in here. Create an empty. Call this pistol 0. 0. Then gonna give it the script. Call it pistol 0. Yeah, pistol 0 for now. Create a folder for weapons under prefab. Drop our pistol in there. Okay, that's a prefab now. Now, right now, this is empty. Get into it. Let's give it the simplest of graphic. Create a material. We'll call it gun polymer. Essentially like a Glock. Give it a little bit of a blue, dark blue. All right, get over here. We're in back view. All right, let's get to top view. Scale this down. I want it to be facing forward, so we're gonna scale it on the X, and then scale it like this. For reference, I'm gonna drop in our pawn model. I'm gonna remove it later. Switch to side view. Where's the pistol cube? Over there. Alright. And this background is not working for me. I'm gonna go into this prefab view. Alright. Pawn model's right here. So, the dude's holding a gun. Gonna be like that. Polymer, let's make it not so shiny. Sure, that's fine. Okay. Very simple. The barrel. And we'll make grip. Scale this. Nope. That way, scale it along the Y. Move it down. A little more size there. Give it tilt. Okay. Our barrel. And then scale it on the Z. Alright. Doesn't look like much now, but that's our gun. We're going to remove this pawn model. Where is our 0? I'm going to scale this down. Alright, so I know that that is 0. I should make sure that 0 of this model is around the 0 of the hand. So right about there. Let's check in wireframe mode. That's the pawn model, right? Alright, let's make sure that we get that roughly in the same place. So let's take this barrel and the grip, move it up inside the hand. Alright, excellent. Now we can remove this, that's just a reference point. Remove the pawn model. Alright. Visually nothing has changed, but I tell you, that's important. So, we have an equipment object. We need to make it so that pawns can equip guns. I think it makes sense to put it here because pawns, every pawn is going to have a weapon of some sort, whether it's a gun, melee weapon like a sword. So we're gonna do event. We'll just call this weapon 0. Okay, they can have multiple. Each pawn can have multiple weapons. Right? Public void whip weapon. Then we'll do a game object prefab. So this weapon needs attached somewhere. So, alright, I'm going to create a header here. We're going to call this equipment. And then I'm going to create another header. What do you call this? Hardpoints. So hardpoints is common. I know it from mecha games and anime. Hardpoint is basically a point in a vehicle or mech where you attach a weapon. So here we're just gonna call it a transform and right. So here we're just gonna get the transform of the right hand, and then whenever we make a weapon, we just put it in that hand. So equip weapon, we're gonna do variable position equals transform. Nope, sorry. And right dot position. Variable rotation equal to hand right dot rotation. Yeah, thank you. Then our new weapon is equal to instantiate prefab position rotation and right. So this is not actually a new weapon. Let's do this as weapon 0. Weapon 0 becomes prefab. Then if weapon 0 is not equal to null, then destroy it. Not game object. Yeah. Sure. One exists. Alright. So we need a way to call this function. Right now, I'm gonna make a button for it. I'm gonna make UI button text mesh pro. We'll call this and equip weapon. This is P0 equip. Again, let's make our P0 equip pistol. Our naming. Make our buttons say what they do. Specifically, no shortcut. Right, auto size. That. Just add smaller. And let's align it to the left side. Very simple. Alright, so when we click this, we're going to reference our player pawn 0. It's gonna equip a weapon, and the weapon is our prefab pistol 0. Right? I'm gonna save this. Hit play. The variable handwrite has not been assigned. Alright, excellent. Pawn 0. In our pawn, our hard point is our hand right. Save. Play. New game. Oh, you cannot see that. Because... Alright. Let's take a look. It's tiny. Great. Yep. And right. Failed. Alright, I understand. So, I think my idea... But to be clear, I was overthinking it at the start. But my hypothesis was correct. Not transform, and dry. My hypothesis was correct that if I set the parent immediately inside the instantiate function, then it would take the scaling of that, and our handwrite is not at a 1-1-1 scale. So instead, instantiate it. We don't set a parent that'll put it in world space, make sure that it's scaled at 1-1-1, and then we parent it to the hand. Okay. Click in, press play, equip that pistol. It's gigantic. Doesn't matter. It's good. What happened there? Alright. Let's try that again. Why is the enemy showing up? Yo, enemy pawn. Why are you here? Because it is active for some reason. Right. Sorry. One more time. Alright, equip the pistol. P0. You are equipped. Looks ridiculous. Let's move to next room. Alright, pistol still there. Okay. Gigantic Robocop pistol. Alright. Next phase. Pawns can have guns. Pawns could change guns. Excellent. Let's do pistol. You know what? Very clearly seen sword 0. So we duplicated. Now we're gonna make a sword. That's a grip. Call this blade now. Material. Let's call this sword metal. And let's just make it a tiny bit gray and then shiny. Sword metal on this. Okay. Let's give it the same rotation as the grip, so it's 17.78. Yep. Pop you over here. I'm gonna scale you onto X. Longer. Pop you on top of the grip. Make you a little wider. Make you a little thinner. Alright. Check over here. Display name, sword 0. Let's make a new button. P0 equip sword. Text wise, let's also say equip sword. Drop this down. And then over here, equip weapon, sword. Okay. Instead of P0, let's do P3. P3 seems to be Sorry, P2. P2 seems to be in front. Let's do P2 sword 0. Right? Then P2 on equip weapon pistol 0. Alright, so if we try this out, save, right? Okay. Equip pistol. Pistol's in. Sword. Alright, so switching weapons. Let's go to our to-do list now. Number 12 is from the last episode. So pawns have guns, pawns can change guns. Okay, so now we're gonna make a UI. UI, we'll just call this screen equip. No, let's call it inventory, because that is the name that everyone knows. So it's black. Scale. Will we scale it all the way? Yeah. So this will make it transparent. That. And then we're gonna add this button. It's just gonna make it so that if I'm inside the inventory and I click anywhere, it closes it. Alright. So game object set active false. Let's have a visual representation of the UI by having black screen. Gonna be full size, and then we're gonna adjust the anchors so that it is box in the middle of the screen. Gonna drop the alpha down to 80. Nope. Too much. 90. Alright. So this is our... I'm just gonna call this window for now. We're gonna have a grid. Call it button grid. And then make it full size. Change the anchors again. Okay. Then we're gonna give it a button, but not an image. Alright. We'll call this equip button equip. Alright. Give it a number. Button equip dot 0. So this is the grid. Does not need an image. Instead, it needs a grid layout group. Okay? This one, we're gonna say add a text mesh. Just call it TMP label. Equip. What's more obvious, we're gonna make it red. This label, we'll scale it full size. We'll do auto size here. We'll say first one is pistol. Alright. Each of these buttons should function like a button. When you click this, it has to tell the game that whatever character is currently selected, give it equipment. So it needs a reference to, or just needs to activate selection handler. So selection handler, tell it to do something. Selection handler. All right. Void equip on selected pawn. It's going to take equipment, prefab, then again selected pawn equal to null, select the player pawn first, otherwise log. Alright, yeah, before we do the equipment, let's just make sure that the UI interaction is working. So equip on selected pawn is the name of this method. Come on. Alright, so when we click this button, it's grid. Oh. Alright, go. When we click this button, we say equip on selected pawn, and then just stick this here for now. How do we open this inventory screen? We double click on a pawn while it's in exploration mode, right? So we go back to selection hand, select the player pawn. If it's already selected, so this triggers if the pawn is already selected, therefore it's kind of like a double click. So if we double click it and game state handler is not in combat, then we say we open equip screen, right? I am going to make a event. Do on double press player explore mode and put an underscore here. I think that's like clear enough to me just reading it. So do on Unity event. If you're not in combat, let's invoke this. So the selection handler, when you double press a player while in explore mode, we're going to turn the inventory screen active. So right now, we set it inactive. So if we press play, new game, no inventory screen, click this guy. It's selected now. Click it again, inventory screen opens. Click the pistol, we get a debug log. Yes, because we haven't actually added the functionality yet. Our selected player pawn equips weapon and whatever prefab was passed to this function. Save, test it, new game, click U, second click U. Click this, that's a pistol for you. Click this guy, great. Great. Guns for everybody, fabulous. We should test it out with the second button. Grab this. We'll call this sword. That's a pistol. That's a sword. Make sure this is off. Okay, click this guy. Get a pistol. Left. This guy, double click, sword. Give you a sword. Give you a pistol. And you know what? That was a good test. Get into combat. Click this guy. Second click. Alright, it's not opening the inventory screen because you should not be able to. We can actually get rid of these debug button. These are these guys, right? Yep. All right. Let's very clearly rename this. We're gonna call this equip weapon 0 underscore selected pawn. We're gonna rename this also weapon 0. Save. Play. Game. Okay, that's not gonna work. I just realized now because we renamed the function. So let's fix this. Select equip weapon 0 on selected pawn. Check. Q, double click Q, give you a pistol, double click Q, that sword. All right, excellent, excellent. Let's do the second weapon. So you have a weapon 0 and a weapon 1. Equip weapon 1. 2, public void. Okay. Equip weapon 1. Transform. So weapon 1 is your sub weapon. We'll call this holster. Equip weapon 1. We'll refer to this. Weapon 1 is not equal to null. Destroy it. Instead of handwrite, we're gonna go holster. Then weapon 1, instantiate it. Then we parent it to the holster. So we have the pawn functionality. Let's look at the pawn itself. Pawn model. We're gonna give it small cube. Call it the holster. Remove this box collider. Visually, I just want it to be 0.2, 0.1, 0.1. Where are you? Switch to isometric mode. Bring you out. A little too small, but you know what? Just help us. I want you thin on the X, big on the Z, so we'll make you 0.5. Too much, maybe 0.3. Alright, so it's clear visually where this holder is. Rotate you 90 degrees. You're pointing this way. I think this should work. I'm gonna give it a slight rotation. Not quite parallel to the back. Close enough. Save that. So that's the holster. The pawn needs a reference to the holster, like so. These are specific. Let's do a generic. Alright. Bear with me here. Equip weapon. Okay. I'm actually gonna set this to private. It's gonna break some stuff in the selection handler. Yes? Oh geez. Alright. Let's just do it. Alright. So if weapon 0 is null, then equip weapon 0 with this prefab. And you're done. If weapon 1 is null, else debug And can't equip both slots occupied. Yes, makes sense. Sorry, I was not talking very much because I was thinking a lot. So, let's look over here and give this a no errors. Hit play. Click on this guy. Click on second time. You get a sword. Then if I click you again, you get a pistol. It's on your back. If I click pistol again, and equip both slots occupied. Alright. How about you? I'm gonna give you a pistol first, and I'm gonna give you a sword. Alright? On you, give you 2 pistols. Sure. Alright. Excellent. So we're not having to create a separate menu for weapon, sub-weapon. They just, in one menu, are able to equip whatever weapons are there. You know what? Instead of armor, let us do use UI to remove weapon. Just change these appropriate words. Weapons. Instead of guns, say weapons, because that's what they are. Right. Okay, so how do we go about removing weapons? We're just going to brute force it first, and then if it makes sense, we'll simplify it. Remove weapon 0. Public void remove weapon 1. Remove weapon 0 if weapon 0 is not equal to null, then we destroy it. Weapon 0 is equal to null. Makes sense to me. We trigger it in the equipment screen. When we press the equip button a second time, then it checks your gear to see if you already have it equipped. Alright, so the check happens here in this function. We're gonna say check if already equipped. If yes, remove instead of equipping. So if weapon 0 is not equal to null, then we check if weapon 0 dot display name is equal to prefab dot display name. If that is true, then we remove weapon 0. Then close this. Right? If weapon 1 is not, actually this is just the same. If weapon 1 is not equal to null, check the display name against the prefab display name. If it's true, remove weapon 0, remove weapon 1. Return. Then I need another conditional here. All right. Now we try equipping. Save. Okay. New game. Click you. Second time. Give you the pistol. Click the pistol, it's removed. Give you the sword, remove. If I give you a pistol, you know what? That's really hard for people to see, right? I am gonna take this window, make the opacity. Okay, let's just full screen this and give it one last test. Maximize, new game, bam. Double click, give you a pistol, sword. Give you pistol, nope, we can't double the pistol, we can't double sword. Sword, pistol, full sword. Sword, pistol. Walk into the next room, you still have all your gear. A little shorter video for today, but if you liked it, you know what? Like, subscribe, or just hang out for the next one. Alright, see you next time.